We're going to go ahead and start preheating the pan on a medium-high heat. Let's start by grating the cheese. Take your bowl, your cheese grater, and just take your cheese and start grating it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take some of our dill, and we're just going to take our knife and just chop some of it up. Just so that we can have try and get it nice and fine. You don't want it to be like too leafy. And then you can go ahead and set that aside. That's what we're going to be using to sprinkle onto our grilled cheese. And then next you can take your rosemary. And again, same thing, just make sure you get rid of any stem pieces because you don't want it to be like too stemmy. You can cut up the stems with everything, it's going to taste fine, but just be aware that if you have any extras lying around that are a little too stemmy, it might get a little harder to chew, and you're definitely going to taste it more than just the herbs and the savory. Right, and you can set that aside as well, and that's going to be it. Because remember, everything else that we have is going to be is going to be in the dried herbs, and that's going to be sprinkled on top as well. I've gone ahead and put all the ingredients in a bowl. This is not a necessary step, it's just what I'm going to be doing for the demonstration purposes, because we're going to be seasoning with it later, and of course that's going to be harder to do. But feel free to do it as if you want. This is a deviation that is allowed. Alrighty, for this next step you're going to want to go ahead and grab your butter and take your 2 slices of your white or wheat bread, and then just go ahead and fully cover one side of each piece. These sides are going to be the ones that flip over and provide a little bit of extra flavor for the sandwich itself. It might take you a couple tries depending on what type of bread and brand you got, but just make sure you get all that butter like spread all the way to the edges. We want this nice and tasty. Once you have all key pieces of your ingredients prepped and ready to go, buttered toast, seasonings, and your mix of mozzarella and whatever cheese you pick for flavor, make sure that your pan has already been preheated. We did this earlier in the video, and as you can tell, mine is just now starting to get hot. You can hold your hand safely over the nonstick skillet to see if it's warm enough yet for your ingredients to start cooking. Let's begin putting our ingredients in. Take your first slice of bread, put it right in there. You should hear it immediately start to sizzle. Next, we're going to take the cheese that we prepared earlier and sprinkle just right on top of it. And we're trying to get an equal mix of cheeses in there, and it's really as much as you want, or as much as you can handle, honestly, at this point. But that seems like a good amount of cheese. Now what we're going to do is take the seasoning that we prepared, sprinkle just a little bit of it right in there, set it back aside, and then take the other slice of bread. Make sure the butter side is down on the first piece and up on the second piece. We can press that down a little bit with our spatula just to make sure that it gets a little seared into the pan. You should already be starting to see the cheese melting by the time you complete the sandwich in the pan. You should also be hearing the butter on the bottom sizzle and some of the cheese that's like spilled over to the side crackle on the pan. Now the butter acts as a non-sticking agent, so it's going to keep from sticking to the inside of your pan. But in case your pan is a little worn down like mine, you can always use your spatula to see how easily it moves around. You can also use your spatula to check the underside of the sandwich to make sure that it's crisping up nicely. Looks like mine's ready to flip. So go ahead, get under that spatula with one quick motion and flip. Look at that. Perfect char, and oh, I can smell that cheese and that rosemary. It's gonna be so good. I can't wait to try this. Remember to plate your sandwich on an appropriately sized plate and add a little bit of garnish for flair for the customer. We'll go ahead right here. As you can see, I've sprinkled some extra dill around mine, and we're just gonna do some of the leftover seasoning right on the top. And that is your grilled cheese sandwich. I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me as we learn to make the grilled cheese sandwich together. If you like this video, please let your instructor know, as they're greatly appreciated by this. And now, I'm going to enjoy this sandwich, and it's time for you to make yours. That's good. That's good.